What's more important than mindset? What every guru is going to tell you, every teacher is going to tell you, even religions are going to tell you, even science is going to tell you that there are two states of being. And those fall in the macro. So the macro two states of being. Buddhism, they might tell you that there's a beautiful state and then there's a suffering or dukkha state, and that all life is about suffering. And then Tony Robbins is going to have you shift your mood or shift your state by either playing some music or some sort of jiu-jitsu move or something like that. And then David Baer is going to tell you that your thinking is going to take you to a suffering state 100% of the time. And that I agree with. And I agree with the macro that there are two states of being, that there is a beautiful and there is a suffering, or there is an expansion and there is a constriction. And those, why are they going to tell you that? Why is Wim Hof going to tell you that you can shift your state and control your autonomic nervous system through breath? And why is Rich Roll going to tell you that mood follows action? Is because they pair up beautifully with the biology of our autonomic nervous system, which is the best way that we can explain it to this day. The parasympathetic is this beautiful, expansive, infinite possibility side of us that is creation and production, and your fingernails grow and all those things, and your hair grows. And then there's the sympathetic, the fight, flight, when we need to run, or we got to put our dukes up, or we've got to make friends with the foe. And that's when our nails stop growing. That's when digestion stops. And that's when the adrenaline rushes. And that's when we get hopped up on cortisol. So yes, that's what they're going to tell you. But we believe, off our 25 years of research and my 52 years of existing on this planet in this form, because you can look back on this and you can see that there are 5, not 2, but 5 states of being. Now, this may be the payoff you may hit and move on, but just so you know, I'm not going to give you all 5 right now. You're going to have to sign up to our newsletter to get the last 2. I'm just giving you a little teaser here so you know. So I don't want you to lose you here, because this is important. Because you're going to notice in this lower part of this staircase, what we call the Statesets staircase, in these 5 levels, then in the lowest one, and each one of these, there is a set of beliefs, there's a set of rules, laws, stories we tell ourselves for each one of these. And at the very top, it might be someone like Elon Musk, or Tony Robbins, or Jeff Bezos, or Einstein, or Nikola Tesla. Not the car, but the actual person that was here 100 years ago or 50 years ago or whatever it was. So the people who are up here in this top, they have a different set of beliefs and rules and stories and mindsets. And they have access to all these things that these people down in destruction don't have, because they're different. But we all have those together. So down in destruction, what are the beliefs of somebody who is taking some sort of chemical, whether it's the drink or the smoke or the blow or the mushrooms or whatever it is, to change their state? Maybe they're lost in a chemical such as they need to change their state with sex, and they become addicted to whatever this is down here to change their state, to keep them surviving to the next day. So destruction is defined as when we do things that build momentum that go against our success. And you've probably been there from time to time. And that could be simply having a cheat meal or cheat week, or not having the best diet for optimal health for the short term or the long term. It could be too much booze. It could be a lot too much booze. You're going to have to fill in that blank for what that destruction is for you. But we also know the results of that, where you may not get out of bed, or you have too much anxiety, or you got too much worry, you got too much stress, and your health fails you, and it's tough building relationships, and there's arguments, and there's anger, and there's all of those things. There's a lack of love there in destruction, because you need something from somebody. There's always this neediness there. That's enough about that. Let's move up one more step to constriction. Constriction is, just above destruction, but right below the third middle step, which is so important to get to this third step. But the second step is constriction. And how we can define constriction is very simple, is where you think that a way of doing something is the only way of doing something. You're constricted down to one thing. So having a separate possibility of something creates cognitive dissonance. You're not even thinking about cognitive resonance, where there could be two possibilities that could be correct. That's Elon Musk thinking about there's two ways to build and fly and land. NASA never landed a rocket. Elon Musk did. So now we've only seen that in movies, like in Star Wars and Star Trek and all those type of things. In constriction, you don't see the infinite possibilities. You don't see expansion. You don't feel the beauty of life. You're constricted to where you are. Okay? So if we took and draw a line, like a water line, across from the bottom edge of this third stage across, say there's this water that is created by the sewage that you've created for yourself. And over here in destruction, stepping back over there, you're treading water. It's a struggle. You're in the middle of this. You can't touch bottom, and you're going to get tired, and you're going to sink. With constriction, you at least made the step up into the short end of the pool where you're waist deep. And you can keep your head above water just by standing up. It's all you have to do. You've all seen those memes where the little kids swimming and they're freaking out and they're doing all that stuff, and all I do is stand up and they're fine. But that's where you do. Stand up, you're in constriction, you're fine. But you can still smell the sewage. It doesn't smell good. But you get used to the smell. You know how it is when you smell something doesn't smell good, and over a short amount of time, you don't notice the smell anymore? That's what it's like being in constriction. You become comfortable with smelling your own sewage and being stuck there. And you don't know any way, because it has a set of beliefs, has a set of rules, a set of laws, a set of stories that fit inside of the constriction. Let's move to the third state set. I love construction. You feel like you've found your way. You feel like you've arrived, because now you're at least not doing things that keep you in bed all day. You're not depressed. You're not having to medicate yourself. You may still be medicating yourself on some level, but now you've got caffeine, you've got Red Bull, you got that. Then you may have a couple downers at night, a couple glasses of wine, those type of things. But you're more balanced. But now you've got control over things. Why? Because this Newtonian world makes sense. 2 + 2 = 4. I can lay this foundation. I can build these frames. I can put a roof on it. I've got an architect. I got a blueprint. There's people who've come before me. I can chase all these Roger Bannisters. I can do all these things. I can build it. I can make money. I can get a job. I can do this. I can even get a business and create my own job. I can even own a business in this construction zone. And I can feel good about it, because I can compare myself in terms of relative achievement to how somebody else is doing in this construction zone. And I can rise above them. I can win. I can compete. I can do those things. But in relative achievement, like my dad, 75. The other day I was talking to him on the phone, and he said, when I look around, I feel like I'm doing really good, because I'm doing better than the people I went to high school with. I'm doing better than that. I'm still here. And I asked him, I said, Dad, can you do more? Can you be more? Could you lift some weights, or could you walk a couple more 1,000 steps a day? Could you do more? And his answer is yes. And so the thing is that when we compare ourselves to someone else in relative achievement, we back off the throttle. We become complacent. We teach about this in one of our courses called the propulsion model, the art of being you. And we have this whole tool called the complacency arc. But the opposite of that is absolute achievement. So yeah, I can say, yeah, for 52, I do really good, right? But what's best for Scott? What's best for you? What is the optimal you can do? If you drew a line on a piece of paper and said, and that line represents your maximum potential, how close are you up to this line? Are you just getting just above the everybody else's line? But what are you doing to maximize your potential? And in construction zone, we can fall into that trap. Again, because it has a certain set of beliefs. 2 + 2 = 4. I can design a blueprint. I can get a job. I can get a salary. I can get insurance. I can get a 401k. I can get a house with a white picket fence, and I can get 2.5, children, and I can have a puppy, and I can have a wife or a husband, or those type of things. I can have a certain wardrobe and dress a certain way. I can act a certain way. I can do this. I can construct it all. But man, that's tiring. That's the rat race. That's what we call the mundane loop. It's all of those things. Now, if you want to learn what's above this, Statesets 4 and 5, you got to do one thing. You got to click on that link. Sign up for our newsletter. We send out this weekly newsletter that covers the 5 domains of life: health span, relationships, personal growth, life, and then money and econ, and how we can, what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we're writing, what we're learning through our coaching programs. All that's going to be in there. Just a short email that comes out every Friday. And you'll get that, and you'll have access to the video delivered to your email immediately. It will explain the next 2 Statesets staircase stages for you to move into. Now, I know you've been here this long, that you want to find out what's on the other side of this. And I encourage you to click that link, and I'll be right there.